Apostrophes, used less frequently than you think. Apostrophes are used in two circumstances: to make a contraction and to show possession. Contraction means basically informal language. So you go from do not to don't, are not to aren't, would have to would've. Now possessive shows who something belongs to. So I'm Kelly and I have shoes. They're Kelly's shoes. You have two nouns. An apostrophe after the first noun and then an S shows possession and who is the owner of the shoes. Contractions: do this. Number 1, don't equals do not. Number 2, pretend do not has no spaces. Number 3, remove the second vowel. Goodbye, O. Number 4, the new contraction is don't. Put an apostrophe where the second vowel was. Number 5, success. Caution, number 2, do not with no spaces is not a word. Do not stop until you've completed all 5 steps. So now you try these. Are not, does not, was not, were not, it is, would have, and should have. Here are your contractions: aren't, doesn't, wasn't, weren't, it's, would've, and should've. The important thing with would've and should've is many students hear would've and they think it's would of. If you really think hard, can you tell me what would of means? I bet you can't. Should've. That's just should have when you reduce the H and the A and you add the apostrophe where those letters were. So let's try this. Possession. The computer belongs to Kelly. It's Kelly's computer. Apostrophe S added to the noun plus another noun shows who owns the second item. The second item is always the one that is owned by the first noun. Take a look. Marvin's cat. The cat belongs to Marvin. Now, if you happened to learn Spanish before you learned English, many people try to say the cat of Marvin. They're saying el gato de Marvin, but that is not how you do it. That doesn't mean anything in English. El gato de Marvin doesn't mean anything. You have to switch it around, figure out who owns the item and what it is that's being owned. So, Marvin's cat. Look at the next one. Lily's friend's house. Uh-oh, what is this, you ask? The house that belongs to the friends of Lily. Why do you need to do this? How can you gossip effectively without the apostrophe? It's impossible. Take a look at this. Nouns, singular and plural. So how many items does the owner possess, and how many owners possess them? Excellent questions. I have some friends. Kelly's friends. I am Kelly, I am singular. My friends are plural. They don't own me. They are my friends. No apostrophe. The second noun can't have an apostrophe. It doesn't make any sense. Take a look at this. Kelly and her husband's wedding photo below. That's really us. And these are the people who were at our wedding. They all wore shoes. As you can see from the photo, we had many friends attend and they all wore shoes. Look at all these shoes. Shoes, shoes, shoes. Kelly's friends' shoes. The friends are mine, I am Kelly, but the shoes belong to my many friends. The apostrophe comes after the last owner. If it said Kelly's friend's shoes, then Kelly would have only one friend, or only one person wore shoes to the wedding. Neither of these is true. Kelly would have only one friend. Obviously, this would be false. You can see the picture yourself. The photo shows more than one friend, and they all have shoes. So now what about this? It's and its. What is the difference between these two tiny words? Well, its with an apostrophe means it is or it has. It is not possessive. It is just a subject and a verb squished together, and this is the way we speak. It's going to rain. It's been proven you are brilliant. It's interesting, it's boring. It is interesting, it is boring. Look at its without an apostrophe. Its without an apostrophe is possessive. A noun must follow this one. Its transmission, it has to own it. The car doesn't run. Its transmission has to be fixed. You need to have a noun that comes directly after its so that we know what is owned. Here are some common apostrophe mistakes. Plurals that don't use an apostrophe. Not every S requires an apostrophe. Sometimes S just marks a plural noun. If it's just a plural noun, no apostrophe is needed. An example of a plural which doesn't need an apostrophe. There are 7 days in a week. Days has to own something in this case. This doesn't make any sense. This is how it should be written. There are 7 days in a week. Why don't you need an apostrophe with this plural? Because it doesn't own anything. There's no noun after days. Okay, plurals that need an apostrophe. If a word is plural, you don't use an apostrophe. If the plural noun owns something, then there is an apostrophe. Example for a plural that needs an apostrophe. The teacher's brains got tired after their long meeting. Why does this example need an apostrophe? Well, there were many teachers in the meeting, and all of their brains got tired. The brains belonged to the teachers. There was more than one teacher at the meeting. Then you need to use an apostrophe. Here's a recap. Use apostrophes when you're showing possession or you're making contractions. Don't use apostrophes when you see an S that just marks a plural noun.